The truth might be out there, but that doesn't mean we'll find it. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 mysteries that will probably never be solved. For this list, we're looking at the most puzzling criminal and historical mysteries, where researchers and investigators seem to have hit dead ends. Number 10. Stonehenge. This strange monument has been standing in Wiltshire, England for as long as anybody can remember, constructed at some point during the 3rd millennia BC, up to 5,000 years ago. But despite its fame and popularity as a tourist attraction, nobody knows how Stonehenge was built or what it was built for. It may have been constructed by rolling the enormous stones over logs, or even pulling them on a sled. And it could have been used for ancient religious ceremonies, perhaps the winter solstice.
Within a ring of 56 pits that surround the stones lie the cremated remains of dozens of people.
But with no written records to peruse, we might well never find out exactly why Stonehenge was built. Number 9. The Mary Celeste. The most famous ghost ship in history, the Mary Celeste was found adrift and abandoned in December 1872.
The Mary Celeste, an American registered brigantine, was found 400 miles east of the Azores.
She was in good condition with her cargo intact. The only things missing were the crew and one lifeboat.
But 10 persons, the captain, his family, and crew, had vanished without trace.
It's clear enough that the crew abandoned ship, but with no sign of attack or danger, the reason the crew sailed away in the lifeboat remains unknown. Did they believe the ship was sinking due to false instruments, or did something more sinister happen? The crew themselves was never seen or heard from again, and their story remains untold.
The men found working charts, but not the ship's papers, nor her navigational instruments or maps. Otherwise, personal effects did not seem to be disturbed.
Number 8. The Voynich Manuscript. Since its existence became common knowledge, the 600-year-old Voynich manuscript has confounded everybody who's ever laid eyes on it.
It's the world's most mysterious book, written by an unknown author.
The manuscript is a codex full of inscrutable diagrams of plants that don't seem to exist, written in a language we've yet to decipher. Even code breakers from both world wars weren't able to make sense of it, nor have our best computer algorithms.
The images spark the imagination, but no one's sure what they mean.
Some top researchers have suggested that not only is the text written in a cipher in an archaic language, all the words may also be anagrams. Is the Voynich manuscript a comprehensive guide to alien flora or dark magic? Or is it the world's most elaborate practical joke? We may never know.
For the time being, the Voynich manuscript remains what it has been for the last 600 years. It's a hall of mirrors reflecting each researcher's own imagination.
Number 7. Hinterkaifeck. In the spring of 1922, the Gruber family at Hinterkaifeck Farm was murdered in a brutal attack that's become one of Germany's most infamous cold cases. The 5 Grubers and their maid were killed after unusual occurrences in and around their home, such as tracks in the snow, a broken lock, and footsteps in the attic. Rumors later spread that the farm was haunted, and that strange sounds had caused the previous maid to quit 6 months before the attack. Police found evidence that the killer had stayed at the farmstead for several days after the crime. Could they have been secretly in residence even before the murders? While there have been many suspects, the culprit has never been found. Number 6. What happened to Bobby Dunbar? During a hot summer in 1912, the Dunbar family headed out to the bayou in Louisiana, but the day ended in tragedy. Their young son Bobby disappeared. Search parties found no trace of him, even after cutting open alligators in case he'd been eaten. The following April, police claimed they'd found Bobby in the care of an itinerant handyman, William Cantwell Walters. However, Walters claimed the boy's name was Bruce Anderson, and a woman named Julia Anderson came forward as his mother. Nonetheless, the courts gave the Dunbars custody and threw Walters in jail for kidnapping. In 2004, DNA analysis proved the boy was not Bobby. This means that what happened to the real Bobby remains a mystery. Number 5. The Dancing Plague of 1518. We've heard of contagious laughter, but contagious dancing? In July 1518, a woman began dancing in the streets of Strasbourg, Alsace, now part of France. Must have been a catchy beat because up to 400 people are said to have joined in. Not just for a few minutes, hours, or days, but for weeks, right up until September. Supposedly, several participants literally danced themselves to death. Historians dispute the details, including the alleged fatalities, but generally agree that an outbreak of dancing mania did occur. What caused it? One theory blames psychotropic compounds and fungi. Another argues that the townspeople suffered from stress-induced psychosis, but we'll never actually know for sure. Number 4. The Lost Colony of Roanoke. In 1587, a group of 115 English settlers led by John White landed on Roanoke Island in modern North Carolina. But the colony was doomed. Amid food shortages and rising tension with local Native Americans, White departed for England to get help and supplies, but he wasn't able to return until 1590. When he did, the colonists were gone.
White soon sailed back to England for much-needed supplies, but when he returned, he found the settlement eerily abandoned.
The only clue as to their whereabouts was the word Croatoan carved on a post, the name of a nearby island, and the Native American tribe who occupied it. Many believe the colonists assimilated with the tribe. Other theories say they could have tried to return to England and been lost at sea, or that they were attacked.
Perhaps the colonists survived, and together with the Croatoan tribe, went on to thrive in their adoptive land.
Number 3. The Nazca Lines.
They lie neglected for more than 1,000 years and aren't rediscovered until the era of the airplane.
These vast geoglyphs are found across the Nazca Desert in Peru. Many of them depict animals endemic to the region, including monkeys, jaguars, and spiders. Others outline enigmatic geometric shapes. Best viewed from the air or surrounding mountains, they've been naturally preserved for roughly 2,000 years by the dry climate. Scholars have long been divided on exactly what the lines are for. Many believe they're religious and were drawn as part of a ritual to ask their deities to bring rain to the crops. Since we can't ask the Nazca people themselves, though, it's doubtful we'll ever know their function for sure. Number 2. Who was Jack the Ripper? In the fall of 1888, London's slums were haunted by the most famous serial killer in the world. Between August 31st and November 9th, 5 female sex workers were murdered.
Jack the Ripper's reign of terror had begun.
The police received letters from the purported killer, taunting them. One declared that he was from hell and included half a human kidney. Sadly, investigative techniques at the time weren't good enough to catch him. There were many suspects, including criminals, doctors, and even a member of the royal family. In fact, over 300 people were investigated. But even if one of these suspects was the Ripper, everybody involved has been dead for decades, meaning it's unlikely we'll ever know his identity.
Even with a corpse, an approximate time of death, and knowledge of the weapon, the police had little to work with.
I love mysteries and everything, but these are gonna drive me nuts now. Like, they're the next step up from unsolved mysteries because they're unsolvable mysteries. Even the honorable mentions are aggravating. So let's take a look at those, and then we'll discover our top mystery we'll never get an answer about. The Mad Gasser of Mattoon. Was someone attacking this Illinois town with gas in the 1940s, or was it mass hysteria? The Lost City of Atlantis. Was Atlantis real, or was it an allegory invented by Plato? Havana Syndrome. Why did several American and Canadian diplomats in Cuba and China get simultaneously sick?
Are you aware of any type of technology that would cause this?
No, I'm not, sir.
American diplomats were complaining of crushing headaches, extreme fatigue,
Who would do this?
and an intense sound.
The Copper Scroll treasure. Are the hidden treasures listed in the Copper Scroll real?
The only Dead Sea Scroll made of metal. And its message would prove to be even more remarkable than the material it's made from.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The Ark of the Covenant. This legendary wooden chest is said to contain the tablets the original 10 Commandments are written on, making it one of the most important religious artifacts in the world. The only problem is, it's been missing since the 6th century BC, when Jerusalem was destroyed by the Babylonians.
They put the Ark in a place called the Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem, where it stayed for many years.
Since then, many people have claimed to have found the Ark, with a group of Christians in Ethiopia even saying they have it today. But it's also been said to have found its way to France, Rome, the UK, Egypt, and even the United States. When we've already been searching for it for 2,500 years, it seems doubtful it survived and that we'll ever find it.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.